This weekend marks 2 years since the deadly bombing at the Kabul airport during the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. 170 Afghan civilians were killed, along with 13 U.S. service members. 2 years later, there are still lingering questions about that day and the decisions that were made leading up to the terrorist attack. Jerry Dunleavy joins us now. He is currently an investigator on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. His investigation into the Afghanistan withdrawal was part of a book that he's written, and that's what he's here to discuss today. Kabul, the untold story of Biden's fiasco and the American warriors who fought to the end. You know, Jerry, your team uncovered new information through the Freedom of Information Act. What did these sensitive Pentagon documents tell us about the intelligence picture before the bombing?
Yeah, so these Pentagon documents that were obtained through FOIA, some of them even by the New York Times and Washington Post, but I think that my co-author, James Hassan, and I may have been the only people to go through those thousands of pages. And what we found was that in the days leading up to the attack on Abbey Gate, the threat streams from ISIS-K were dire. And as the August 26th drew closer, the intelligence that the U.S. was receiving got more and more specific to the point of, on August 26th, it was assessed that the attack was going to be at Abbey Gate, and U.S. intelligence had almost predicted
granularity.
The hour.
Okay. If there was that kind of granularity in the intelligence that an ISIS-K cell was preparing to attack at the airport, was there an opportunity to neutralize that cell?
Yeah, well, through reading these Pentagon documents and through these witness statements in there, we found a couple of opportunities like that, potential opportunities to hit ISIS-K before the Abbey Gate bombing. In one sworn statement, an official said that U.S. intelligence knew that ISIS-K was staging in a hotel about 2 to 3 kilometers west of Kabul airport, and that U.S. military leadership asked the Taliban to conduct an assault on that location, but that the Taliban never did.
Wait a second. So we trusted the Taliban to launch an assault on a terrorist cell, and then they failed to do so.
Well, part of all of this is that the U.S., because of a series of bad decisions by President Biden, the U.S. was relying on the Taliban to provide security outside of the airport because the U.S. controlled just that tiny airport, and the Taliban controlled not just all of Kabul, but now all of Afghanistan.
Now let's talk about the individual who's identified as the suicide bomber by ISIS-K. This is Abdul Rahman al-Lughari. We've got a picture of him here. That is from the ISIS-K magazine. It's alleged to be the suicide bomber. He was held at what was then the U.S. base at Bagram, which you and I both know from our reporting is where they hold these terrorist prisoners. When we relinquished control of Bagram, was that really the event, based on your reporting, that set this chain of events into motion that led to the bombing at the airport?
I think the U.S. abandonment of Bagram was pretty much the death knell of the Afghan Republic. And giving up Bagram was bad for many reasons, including the fact that it would have been a much better place to do an evacuation from, and you wouldn't have had as many Americans and Afghan allies left behind. But on top of that, at that prison, at that base at Bagram, there was a prison, Parwan, where thousands of ISIS-K terrorists were held, including the man who would go on to kill those 13 Americans. And the first thing the Taliban did when they took Bagram was open the gates and free those prisoners. And if we had just held on to Bagram, the man who killed those 13 Americans at Abbey Gate would have been behind bars rather than out there threatening and killing Americans.
And just in the final few seconds, as we look ahead to next week, what's going to be happening with the families here in Washington?
So the House Foreign Affairs Committee is having many of the 13 Gold Star families for a congressional roundtable for them to voice their thoughts and their demands for accountability. And I encourage everyone to watch.
Really, on balance, there has not really been any sense of real, credible, authentic accountability for those lost lives and the Afghans as well. Jerry Dunleavy, thank you for your reporting.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.